You mentioned these terms, waking up, growing up, and showing up, and this whole showing up thing, the collective. What do we need to keep our eye on with the collective, or the lack of collected, or the divided collective? And what are your thoughts on that? Because that's a funny one to try to process and understand. I guess because we're in it. We're almost by definition on a side, even if we think we're not.
Yeah, I mean, this is now just pure metaphorical conjecture, but but also, an experience that I have glimpsed in peak states myself. So I didn't just pull it out of my ass because I felt like thinking it, which is that we're sort of entering right now, not the singularity, but more the sort of intertwingularity, where everybody's endgame, everybody's mythologies, where as we swirl down the drain pipe of time and space, they're all smashing and crashing into each other. So we've got people, riffing on the Matrix and saying we're living in a simulation, and and unplug and jack in and jack out, and red pills and blue pills. We've got people discussing Star Wars and talking about the Empire versus the Rebel Alliance. We've got, ISIS animating, ancient, the 12th Caliphate is coming, and we're gonna actually get to Jerusalem in the end times. We've got Christian Zionists saying the same thing. Book of Revelations, it's all going down in the Middle East. And that's where we will all be redeemed and saved in the second coming. And there's really, structurally, there's no difference between those things. I mean, if you assign profound value to one and not the other, that's your prerogative. But arguably, they're all just products of human imagination, whether it's on celluloid or parchment, right? And all of these mythologies are intertwining, and the noise, the signal to noise, is getting completely insane. And my sense is that at the end, if there were to be some eschaton, some inflection point in the future, that the sorting hat, right, is actually going to be not based on what badges or flags we're wearing or flying. It'll be love or fear. And what we will realize is that there are people who are being animated by love across the world, speaking different languages, worshiping different gods, following different agendas. And there will be people that are motivated by fear. And all of those folks, no matter how noble, I mean, this is the Spanish Inquisition, that's supposedly a Christian project, right? And so we'll see, and that will arguably be the great reorganizing. Are we coming from love, or are we coming from fear? So that wake up and grow up and show up, which I think is originally Ken Wilber's concept. I've lovingly appropriated.
I like it
because it rhymes and it's to the point.
Yeah.
Which is the sense of what are we here to do, right? And that notion of the peak experience is antinomian, right? Not subject to tops-down centralized control.
Right.
I think that my last best hope, and I don't know whether this is true or right, but it's my last best hope, is an open source approach to having everybody have that experience, have that Gnostic initiation, remembering what I've forgotten, mending where I'm broken, connecting with others to do what I must, and trust human nature. Trust that let 1,000 fires burn. We need, and it doesn't matter whether you've come to the conclusion that saving the polar bear is the stand you must take, or whether it's early childhood education, or whether it's urban farms, right? Or whether it's saving animal cruelty. It doesn't matter. Go where there's the intersection of your trauma and your talent. Go where you have experienced the wound of the world, and go where you have the skills to do something about it. And there's that classic story of the Soviet ambassadors coming to the US and going to a supermarket in Houston, right? And being absolutely blown away by the overflowing abundance of everything, right? And they went back, they said, we're done. There's no way we're winning this against this. And they said, how did you get all this done? And they're like, well, it's 1,000 micro decisions. This is the free market at work. There's that great, libertarian economics essay, I, Pencil, that describes the evolution of a pencil and how many people had to touch it and contribute it, and none of them even know each other. There's the truck driver, and there's the graphite, and there's the cedar lumberjacks, and all this stuff to make the pencil. Right. And I feel like we need a version of that. We can't rely on even the smartest individuals, the Bill Gateses and the Elon Musks of the world, the Jeff Bezoses. They are lopsided and centralized. It's basically not unlike Stalinist Soviet tops down. Right. We absolutely have to have decentralized, distributed sense-making where everybody in their own communities, everybody seeing the world from where they see with the tools and resources they have, can nonetheless step up to do the show up part and light those 1,000 fires. And my hope, and 999 of them will go out in the storm, but there will be those that keep burning. And that's how we can reorient. And that's how we can also honor the sovereignty of each person. Because like all I'm interested in is what is an open source, sort of like Linux, what is the psycho-spiritual social technology that shoots straight, gets the job done.
Yeah.
If it works, use it, mutate it, add to it, build on it, distribute it, share it, and propagate. And let's see if we can help more of us. Wendell Berry has a great phrase. He says, in one of his poems, he says, "Be joyful, though you have considered all the facts." Right? And that is arguably, that's the Eleusinian mysteries from ancient Greece. Plato said, not only and there was like a 9-day psychedelic initiation, death, rebirth, they even get buried down in the catacombs. And he said, not only do the mysteries teach us to die a better death, they teach us how to live a better life. And that sense of unlocking what MLK called soul force. In fact, in Gandhi before, I think it's actually a Hindu concept. I'm going to bugger it up, but it's like Satyagaram, something like that. But it's basically that notion of human nobility and human courage in the face of evil and darkness. Right? The classic Winston Churchill. We're here in London, right? My father was a kid in the London Blitz. He talked about hiding under the kitchen table. As the bombs fell, that idea of keep calm and carry on. And Churchill's thing of never, ever, ever give up. Like that is a galvanizing heart truth. And we fetishize, right? People who have gone through the mystery of facing death, and they come back with truth. And whether that's true, fetishization of SEALs and stories of their combat experiences, or it's things like Tuesdays with Maury and The Last Lecture, and all those kind of things where someone has a terminal diagnosis and they're like, oh, they've glimpsed the mystery, like they've faced the Reaper in a way we don't have the balls to look. And they're coming back to tell us something important, something vital about this human experience. And so can we create our own resurrection practices? Can we actually face our mortality? Can we, and you talked about going to that climate protest, and everybody's in shit or go blind territory right now. We're completely overwhelmed, and we're all suffering from, at the least, micro PTSD. Just every day, always on, too much to sort out, too much hisms and schisms. And the idea is like, look, if we can face the facts brutally, grieve where we must, and then get back up again, courageous and knowing that our lives are forfeit. No one gets out of here alive. We've known that all along. So like in my life, I'm like, oh, okay, well, best case, I got 3 or 4 decades. Worst case, I've got, maybe 1. Either way, it's a known outcome. So the question is how do we do the immortal thing? That film 300 about Leonidas and the Spartans, right? Why do we get our rocks off on that? Today is a good day to die. And I feel like, modern society, we've been so coddled. We're just zoo animals, just turned into consumers. Let's exploit your pain, feed you an instant quick hit sugar pill solution. And we're like, we've become that. But if we actually reclaim our agency and reclaim our autonomy and reclaim our courage and our purpose, like that's what's necessary. And we can do it. And back to, the peak states and the healing, like they tend to remind us. I mean, I don't know how or why. I don't presume to. But the information we appear to get in those spaces is almost always bang the fuck on, absolutely custom tailored to us, and connects us, stitches us back to the tapestry of life, to the bigger question and the bigger undertaking.